The first of Dreamweaver's interface elements that I'll be discussing is known as the document bar. Document bar can be found right up here above any file that you happen to have open inside of Dreamweaver. When you have a page open, it'll enable you to switch between a number of different views, and we'll be discussing exactly what these icons happen to be at the moment. To begin with, I've got a simple HTML file open from a previous Killer Sites training tutorial. And as you can see, it's displaying in what's known as the design view. The design view is what we refer to as Dreamweaver's WYSIWYG view. What you see is what you get. And when you are in the design view, it allows you and enables you to come in here and make changes. So if I wanted to, I could say Killer Sites as I write that, and it will reflect those changes. However, this particular page can also be viewed in code view alone. And if we were to click on the code view right here, you would notice that the entire HTML code for this particular page is now evident. And that enables you to come in and directly change HTML information as we proceed throughout our document. So if you remember, we had just changed this to say Killer Sites, but I could add something like Killer Sites Training and change it directly in the code view. And then when I preview this in the design view, you can see that yes, that has changed. Another element that is a nice feature here is if I am in the design view or the WYSIWYG view, I can select the particular element that I'm looking for, and then when I go to the code view, I can see that that particular text is being highlighted right here, as the home happened to have been when I selected it here in the design view. And that enables you to make quick changes, particularly because when you're looking through your information, for example, another subheadline, there's a lot of HTML code to sift through, and switching in this fashion and jumping quickly to the page in the section of the page that I'm looking for is a very, very nice feature and enables you to work in a much more quicker fashion. However, if you're just starting out with HTML and you're not all that familiar with the things that Dreamweaver is going to be doing for you in its WYSIWYG view, I'll strongly suggest that you work with a split screen view. And basically what that means is you can split the screen so that you'll have code on the left-hand side and design view on the right-hand side. And if you've got a much bigger interface than I happen to have right here, that will enable you to see the code view in its entirety and at the same time be able to see what's happening in the design view. It's a very good feature. And the reason I mention it is because if we were to add some information in here, like a paragraph, and I hit the return key and then start entering in some paragraph information, you can see what exactly Dreamweaver has done. So just by hitting that return key, we were able to add a paragraph, and we see that in the code view, it added this new p tag, which I will quickly now remove in either the design view or in the WYSIWYG view. I'm going to switch back to design view for a second and mention that there is this other button here called the live view. The live view enables you to preview what your work would look like in a browser. Dreamweaver uses the WebKit browser, and WebKit is a browser type that you would associate with Apple's Safari browser or the Google Chrome browser. If we were to click on this, you'll notice a number of differences between the simple WYSIWYG design view and the live view. While the live view has enabled a number of CSS3 features in this particular page, it's showing rounded corners, it's also enabling things like animation, and it's also showing me exactly what the rollover effects would be on these particular links that I have here. It's also swapped or substituted the text that I have here from what was the original non-live view text. So live view is a really great feature that enables us to work in this fashion. Live code is also useful because it enables you to not only see what's happening in that live environment, but it also enables any scripts that would only work if they were in the browser. The inspect view is also another useful feature because when you're in live view, it enables you to inspect the HTML elements, but more importantly, the CSS elements. So we could roll over these elements here and we would see what type of CSS is being applied, how much margin or padding is being applied to those elements as we proceed throughout the entire work. However, if we were to disable the live view temporarily, you'll see that there's a number of other particular icons available to you as well. First one is a new feature in Dreamweaver CS6 called multi-screen, and when we get into fluid layouts, you'll be able to preview your work on either a smartphone environment, a tablet environment, as well as different web environments. However, sometimes to get the most appropriate means of viewing your work, it's best to preview the web page in an actual browser. So here we see the preview debug in browser icon. And you'll notice I happen to have Firefox, Google Chrome, and Safari available, as well as previewing in Browser Lab. However, if you've just installed Dreamweaver and you don't have these particular browsers available, you can always go to Edit the Browser List. And when you click on Edit Browser List, what happens is the preferences will open up and it will quickly navigate to the category called Preview in Browser. Once you're previewing in browser, you can add new browsers just by clicking on this particular one right here. And adding a browser, you can browse to your applications folder where you can select which particular browser you're looking for. Now that browser can be anything from Internet Explorer and all of its infinite variations, as well as these very common Firefox, Google Chrome, and Safari browsers. You can also indicate whether or not these browsers will be your primary browser or secondary browser. And the reason being is because if you select, as I have here, Safari as my primary browser, it's giving me a shortcut. Option F12 on the Mac, but it'd probably just be F12 on your PC. And if you select another one that you've added and say, make this my secondary browser, it'll give you a second shortcut. So if you wanted to, you can activate the preview in browser function just merely by using a shortcut. As you'll see, if I were to come in here and say, hey, well, let's just preview this in Google Chrome, it's giving me the shortcut as well. When it does so, it will often indicate to you that in order to preview in the browser, it may need to save either the HTML page or the CSS style sheet, among other things. So I'm going to save this, and as you can see, it's now opened up inside the Google Chrome browser. And if I wanted to, I could just quickly scroll through the entire element and navigate through this browser. Once I'm done with that and seeing what the preview is, I'm just going to quit that and then go back to where I was before. Another thing that I do want to mention is while we can work within the code view for this HTML page just by going to code, or if we were in the split screen view, you can also access other pages through these particular buttons here. Source code always is giving me the HTML source code, but if I wanted to, I could also see what the actual style sheet looks like. And as you can see here, just by clicking on this style sheet button, whatever its name happens to be, I can scroll through the CSS and I can make a number of different changes and access the information. You can also see this in split screen view as well. And in doing so, you'll be able to make a change and then see it quickly updated inside of your design view. If we had some JavaScript associated with this page, there would also be another link over here indicating the ability to access the JavaScript page directly inside of our code or split screen views. Some other things that you can also work with is file management. If we save this page and I quickly wanted to upload it to the server, I could do so by saying put, or I could get the latest version of the file from the server by using get. It also indicates that I can use CSS validation and or actually I should say W3C validation. That's the World Wide Web Consortium, and they set down pretty much what the web standards would be. And if you wanted to check out whether or not your particular website validates according to W3C specifications, you can just click on this and some information will open up down at the bottom. As well, I'm going to be in the design view here. And you'll notice that when you are in the WYSIWYG view, there are some elements like this box around the area here that will not show up when you're previewing in browser. Same thing for these links. You'll notice these little dotted lines. Well, these are all visual aids, and if you click on this, even when you are in the design view, you can hide visual aids, or you can show them. For example, if I go to CSS layout backgrounds here, I can get a little color preview of exactly what's going on inside of my CSS. However, if you want to disable certain ones, if you don't like seeing the CSS layout outlines and you just want to see it normally, you can do that as well. So feel free to move around and check out different things inside of this environment, and these visual aids will be pretty useful to you, specifically if you're working within the WYSIWYG environment of the design view. Also, you'll notice that there is this title option here. If for whatever reason you have forgotten to enter in a title in your code view, and as you can see here, I'm going to the code view, and in the head section there is the title information right here. Well, you can also come into it and just quickly enter in some more title information right up here very quickly. So that's a little bit about working with the document bar. When we come back, we'll explore more on the Dreamweaver interface.